If you've ever messed up in life, if you've ever made a mistake, if you've ever had a sin and you wanted to get things right with God and you weren't sure even what to do or what to say or how to pray, today's One Verse is for you. Coming up. Hello and welcome to the One Verse Daily Devotional. My name is Matt, and on this devotional, we look at one simple verse every single day to grow deeper in your faith. And so I'm so glad that you're with me here today. And we got a powerful verse today out of one of my favorite Psalms, but kind of one of the toughest Psalms to read. It's a heart-wrenching Psalm, but I love it because I connect with it so much. And I think that if you're struggling or have struggled in your life or know what it's like to have a past or make past mistakes or struggle with getting over your past, this psalm is for you. This psalm is definitely for you. And our one verse today will give you some hope and give you a prayer that you can pray to help kind of recover from and get over that past mistake and look to the future that God has for you. Our one verse today comes out of Psalm 51, verse 12, and it says, "Restore to me the joy of your salvation, and grant me a willing spirit to sustain me." Restore to me the joy of my salvation. Well, that first word gives us a huge clue that something's not right. If you have to say, restore to me, that means it's broken, right? You only restore broken things, old things, things that need to be fixed. And that's true in our one verse today. Something was broken. Something was off. Something wasn't quite right. And something had to be restored. Well, fortunately, in this psalm, we know exactly what happened. See, in many of the Psalms, you'll see things like a Psalm of David. We have some amazing information in those little pretext in some of the Psalms. And the best example of it is here in Psalm 51. It doesn't just say a Psalm of David. It gives us the entire backstory of why the Psalm was even written. It says, for the director of music, a Psalm of David. But then it goes on. When the prophet Nathan came to him after David had committed adultery with Bathsheba. The famous story, David and Bathsheba, that illicit affair, right? Where he fell to sexual temptation and then had her husband basically murdered. This was the lowest point of David's life. And Psalm 51 is the psalm that he wrote after his sin was found out, after it was made public. He was broken. He was hurt. He knew that he had messed up. And so I look at Psalm 51 and there's so much we can learn here. If you've ever struggled with failure, if you've struggled with committing sin, having a past, messing up, especially on a large scale or publicly, man, Psalm 51 will speak to you just like it does to me, all right? And these are the words of David that he penned after this whole situation. And so I can put myself right in the shoes of David in this psalm. In our one verse today, he's praying out to God, and he says, restore to me the joy of my salvation. Isn't that so true? After we sin, after we mess up, after we fail, it's like, man, like, where's the joy of my salvation? It's gone. And that's one of the first things that David prays for. Restore to me, Lord. I want it back. I need this back. I want to be restored in relationship to you. He said, and he goes on, and grant me a willing spirit. Man, that is so good. I love that verse, that phrase is in the Bible. I have not struggled with this a lot. I don't know a lot about it, but I have struggled at times with some depression. And I tell you what, when I'm in those depressive states, I struggle with the willing spirit. You have no will to go on. You have no will to get out of bed. Nothing seems to matter. Like, who cares, right? Everything is lost. I have no future. And when we fail, when we mess up, when we make mistakes, that's exactly how we feel. We're depressed. We're lonely. We don't know if we have a future. We have no will to go on. And so I love that the Bible puts this in here, that David pins these words, and grant me a willing spirit. Lord, I can't even do it. I can't get out of bed. I can't move forward. Restore the joy of my salvation. Give me a willing spirit. I need a will to go on and to survive and to overcome this horrible mistake that I made. If you've ever struggled with failure, this is your prayer. It's been my prayer at different times in my life. Lord, restore to me the joy of your salvation. Grant me a willing spirit to sustain me. Take some time today. Make that your prayer and restore your relationship with God. Have a great day.